hold the microphone, right? You don't have to have a large influence. But I feel that when you are doing something to be remembered, you're not doing it for you, but you're doing it for the people that's coming behind you. And as long as you do that, as long as you can change somebody's life, like Mother Teresa got to dying, man, and she says, never let somebody leave your presence without feeling better or happy. So if you're doing that, you winning every single day. So if you want to do something to be remembered, do something that is small. You don't have to necessarily do something big. I always tell people, man, if you cannot do something in a big way, do it in a small way.
All right, y'all, what's going on? It's your boy Easy Bake Oven. What's up, y'all? So today it's a little different, all right? Now, yeah, I used to hear ads run through my stuff for other people. All right, this is probably the first real time the ad is for me. All right, so P.S.A, Prodigy Sport Advantage Stations, has expanded far beyond just the podcast. It is now a writing service, all right? And at that, a ghostwriting service. So we do it anonymously and take care of your needs, all right? Homework assistant, product and profile descriptions, grant writing, resumes, cover letters, templates, books, ghostwriter book too. Anything you can think of, articles, all that good stuff. PSA, the Ghostwriter Solution, can do it. So go over to PSAthepodcast.com and you can see all the services there with all their descriptions, okay, because I know I missed some. And also you can reach out to me at theprodigyperspective@gmail.com and we can take care of all of that for you too. Peace. Just like that, we are back. Another great week, another hot fire episode. And yeah, we keeping the ball rolling. Industry Plant did a lot for us. And I'm excited to see where it's gonna go. And I saw how like my girl Bobby Altoff, I'm gonna get her on this podcast too. But I saw how they tried to call her Industry Plant. So I said they call them not a great Industry Plants in this season. So stay woke. It's an attack. All right, let me go ahead and get into this week's meme because I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all now. I'm gonna go ahead and just give you a break to give it the news. Y'all probably already peeked it, but Industry Plant coming back for the last segment of the season. So the first album was the mid-season series. We doing some bonus tracks towards the end, and be prepared to see who's gonna be on that. Let's get into this week's meme. The meme reads, "Money not the only thing I'm leaving behind once I die." Inspiration comes from a quote by Peter Strople that says, "Legacy is not leaving something for people, it's leaving something in people." Another quote that says, "The greatest legacy one can pass to one's children and grandchildren is not money or material things accumulated in one's life, but rather a legacy of character and faith." And then Psalm 112, verses 1 through 3. "Praise the Lord, blessed is the man who fears the Lord, who greatly delights in his commandments. His offspring will be mighty in the land. The generation of the upright will be blessed. Wealth and riches are in his house, and his righteousness endures forever." Now, with that, like I said, when I said money not the only thing I'm leaving behind, we leaving money too, but I'm just saying that's not the only thing I want to leave. All right, y'all, so let's get into y'all favorite segment, Happy Hour. Okay, so real quick today with Happy Hour, I just got something to talk about that I think is pretty interesting. So typically, I go on a rant with a bunch of different things, but the only thing I want to talk about is the Kia Boys. So you're probably thinking, what is the Kia Boys for those who don't know? So the Kia Boys is a group of dudes who nobody knows who's going around and taking people Kias, whether they take them and crash them, they take the engines out, they break into your car, take the engines out, and just basically ruin your car. Now, just because they call it the Kia Boys, it could be the Kia Boys and friends because they're getting Kias, Hyundais, and Toyotas too. So this mainly happening in St. Louis and like I see like Missouri really. Now, I don't know if the Kia Boys, they on the road, because they might be. They might have been in your city too. I haven't fully done the research on what every city that they in. But they is causing havoc. They is wreaking havoc. And the fact that they ain't been caught yet is wild. But always remember, when you're doing something like that, unless you stop, you going to get caught eventually. And it's all, like, let me tell you something. I watched something, just in case the Kia Boys watching. I watched something on one of them crime channels. Do you know they caught somebody 20 years later from a piece of dog hair? So what makes you think in a way that technology is constantly advancing, what makes you think you're not gonna get caught eventually? And what do you get out of this? Because a lot of times it's really just some kids doing the most. You know what I mean? I don't know. They ain't got me, but they getting all my friends, but mainly the ones that live in like the St. Louis area in Kansas City. But I told my homegirl, I said, well, maybe this guy's way trying to tell you he finna get you a Bugatti. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Because, they say the what's it called? The before the blessing come the attack. So maybe that's what that is. That's the last resort. I don't know. But it's interesting to see because I wonder how old they are. I don't believe they that old, but I don't know. I don't know. That's something to think about. All right. So again, I kept happy hour light today. I have a great guest, somebody who we've been missing each other for a while now, but we finally got each other at the same time. And I know this man is very busy, and he's doing what we talking about today, which is leaving a legacy. So let me go ahead and introduce my guest. My boy, what's going on?
What's going on, King? What's going on? How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm good. I'm happy the kid boys ain't got me. How you living?
I'm glad they didn't get me either. It's only gonna be the Toyota Camry boys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. It's crazy out here, man, for sure.
I think that's an honorary. That car is honorary too.
Mhm.
But so obviously my people on YouTube can see you. Make sure y'all like, rate, and subscribe. But for my audio only people, can you tell the people what's your name, where you from, and where you live?
Yes, sir. So my name is William Winfield, and right now I reside in Atlanta, Georgia, originally from Rhode Island. You know what I'm saying? I'm just big on just leaving an impact and making sure that the world doesn't remember me for a coach or a speaker or a leader, but to be remembered as the greatest father to ever do it.
All right. So now you got a lot of stuff going on.
Yep.
So tell us about. I use the word foundation, but everybody's ain't a foundation. But tell us more about that.
Yes, sir. So, man, when I talk about fatherhood, when I talk about leadership, when I talk about a man of faith, when I talk about speaking to coach, I think I think I'd be doing myself a disservice if I didn't really talk about the fact of how I got there. You feel me? And a lot of times, people see where you're at, but they don't see where you came from.
Yeah.
For me, you know, bro, I tell people I ain't supposed to be here, man. I remember March 25th, 1991, in Rhode Island hospital. Me and my mom, we were fighting for my life in the womb. There was a umbilical cord wrapped around my neck, and every time my mom was pushing, I was losing oxygen. So you know what I'm saying? I think I'm supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here. And so I remember the doctors rushing my mom to the emergency room to perform an emergency C-section. And when they took me out, I wasn't breathing. After they hit me, I still wasn't breathing. After they hit me again, I still wasn't breathing. And it was that final hit, you know what I'm saying, which I call one for the Father, one for the Son, one for the Holy Spirit. I guess the third one kicked in. And I
Yeah.
woke up, I counted my, oh my God, my baby, my baby, my baby. And my upbringing, man, it was more so my mom had to raise me by herself. My dad wasn't there. I always asked the question, I said, Mom, how come my father was never there? You know what I'm saying? My dad never seen me crawl. He never seen my first tooth come in. He never put no pampers on me, man. And so I always asked myself, man, where was my man? She was like, man, baby, your dad was, you know, doing what boys do, chasing women and drinking alcohol and not taking care of his responsibilities. And so I remember saying at the age of 17, bro, I'm like, I ain't never gonna have that happen to my kids ever. And so from that moment forward, my mantra was, you can live twice if you leave a legacy.
Mm.
That was my mantra, right? And now, of course, bro, like I'm 32 now, right? So of course I didn't say it that exact way, but the way that I said it was more so like now I understand what that meant back then. And
Yeah.
so fast forward, man, I remember losing a job and working there. And my mom was staying with me. I had my mother and my kid with me, and my son, who was 3 years old at the time. And this is where I believe that I identified my gift. I remember walking into work in Jacob Environmental in Franklin, Massachusetts, and my manager came with me and told me that my boss needed to be with me. So he came on the porch, told me, "Hey, Willie, Phil wants to meet with you." I was like, "Okay, bet." Went in the office, didn't think nothing of it. I was a very hard worker. probably one of the best workers in there. And I remember going to say, "Hey, Phil, how you doing?" Phil's like, "I'm good." Okay, Phil, cool, 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 cool. So what's good, man? How can I help you? Need anything? He was like, "Yeah, I just got some bad news." I was like, "Well, what's the bad news?" He said, "Unfortunately, the company is going through a transition right now, and unfortunately, you came in at the bottom of the totem pole, so we're gonna have to let you go." I'm like, "What?" Like,
Wow.
I did 3 years, 3.5 years. Yeah, I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? I got my homeboy next to me, and I just helped him get a job. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, "Yo, this is crazy." And so, man, I remember like literally getting back in that Nissan Maxima and driving all the way back to Franklin, Massachusetts, all the way to Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And my mom was there, and I remember I broke the news to my mom, and my mom was just like, "Baby, you got to figure this out. You a grown man. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm gonna go stay with one of my friends, and you just got to get on your feet." And so, man, like, the mother of my kids ended up staying with her mom, and I had nowhere to go, bro. Nowhere. Like, nothing. I had a dime, nothing. I remember picking up this phone and calling my boy Gilbert Augusta from Rhode Island. I said, "Hey, bro, I need a place to stay now." As being a male, man, it's very hard to ask another man for help. We
Yeah.
prideful as right? And so I remember picking up that phone called like 2 bricks. And I told my boy, I said, "Yo, man, like, I need a place to stay." He's like, "What's going on?" I said, "I lost my job, bro. I ain't got nowhere to go. I just need somewhere to stay. I've been sleeping in the car for the past couple of weeks." He's like, "Bro, say less. Let me talk to my mom and make sure it's good." Talk to my mom. His mom's like, "Yeah." And they let me stay there 6 months rent free, bro, and pay a dime. And that's what I tell a lot of students when I go speaking in schools, man. I'm like, "Yo, like, how long is bro? How long is this? Like, how long are you guys really gonna be friends? Once you get out of here, be real with y'all. Half the people who you're calling that are no longer gonna be that."
Right.
So for me, bro, I remember just having that conversation with my brother Gilbert, and I told him, "Bro, I appreciate you and thank you for the opportunity because you didn't have to let me in." He said, "Bro, I got you. Whatever you need, say less." And so from there, man, I ended up getting a job at a homeless shelter called House of Hope in Rhode Island. And this is where my gift was born, my gift of impacting, communicating, and speaking. I remember one particular day I walked into the job and there was this guy on the floor. Now in the shelter, we had a stage, and then on the floor, it was like just imagine 100 bunk beds, literally, and then two bathrooms in the back, another desk in the back. And so, man, I remember I walked down there one day and I was just, always interacting with homeless people because everybody else was on stage. Nobody was
Mm-hmm.
paying attention to the client. Nobody cared about the clients. I'm on there just fellowshipping with them, like, man, tell me a little bit about your story. And I'm telling you right now, man, like for me, like some of the most successful people I've ever talked to was homeless people around drug. Like people that just got out of jail as well. I'm like, "Yo, this is crazy, like the stuff they did." And so I remember having a conversation with a gentleman, and as I'm having a conversation with this gentleman, my coworker Jerome Harris said, "Hey, yo, Will, there's somebody down there, and I feel that you can reach it." I was like, "I bet." So who is he? He said, "Yo, he's in bunk bed A16, bottom bunk." I said, "Say less." I walked over there. I said, "Hey, what's going on?" He said, "Ah, leave me alone." I was like, bro, what you mean? Like, you good?" He's like, "Nah, leave me alone. I want to talk to you. I'm good." I said, "Well, do you mind me asking what's going on?" He said, "Nobody understands. Nobody cares." I said, "No, no, no, no. I'm not everybody. I'm here for you right now. Like, what's going on?" And he was like, "Man, just they're not giving me housing. They're not giving me food stamps. Everybody keep robbing from me. My people will call me my friends, and now my friends are stealing from me." I'm like, "All right, slow down, slow down." And then he said, "No, no, no. I feel like taking my life. I feel like killing myself." And so I stopped and I just looked him in his eyes and I said, "Man, listen to me. What's your name?" He said, "My name is Anthony." I said, "What's your last name?" Robinson. Okay. I said, "Anthony Robinson. I want to say something to you and I want you to forget it. You're needed and you don't need to take your life." That's all I said. That's all I said.
Yeah.
And because of protocol, of course, they had to call the ambulance, get him out. So I walked him downstairs, sat out on their side. And the ambulance came. When the ambulance came, I allowed them to roll him into the truck. They rolled him into the truck and shut the door. Thumbs up. Anthony put his thumbs back up. I said, "Everything's gonna be okay, Anthony. You're gonna be good." And Anthony was like, 2 weeks later, I come back to work. And I go upstairs and put my lunch in the refrigerator, X, Y, and Z stuff. And I go up and, just stretching. I'm like, "Yo, what's good? He's like, "Nah, man, what's going on now, bro?" He was like, "Man, Anthony." I said, "Well, Lord, what's going on with Anthony now?" He's like, "Man, listen to me, man. Anthony has something to say to you." I was like, oh, yeah, yeah. So I went downstairs and I just chopped it up. But I was like, and it was good. Before I can even open up my mouth to say anything, he embraced me, man. Squeezed the life out of me. He said, bro, because of you, I didn't kill myself. I was like, yo, hold up. Wait a minute. I was like, yo, my word power. You take a rocket science, man. Like, yo, if I can stop somebody from killing themselves by saying something like that, I'm like, oh, it's definitely a game changer. And so from that moment forward, man, I just started speaking in schools and speaking in colleges and pouring life into other individuals and leaders. And we're here now, bro.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a definitely impactful story. I didn't plan on getting that deep this early, but we did it. So that's good to know. All right. So just unpacking the story real quick. So my next question actually was who was your target audience, but it's easy to say students. So that's easy to say. Um, it's good. It just goes to show you too. You like you don't know how powerful your voices are because it's like in some of our cases, I know especially with me, your mouth is either a blessing or a curse because you could either save somebody from the ledge or you can push them towards it. You
That's
know,
right.
and in my life, everybody know I call myself out, but in my life, I done said some stuff to some people that kept them bound up. But then in the same breath, I've said things to people that didn't free them in a sense or help them to not hurt themselves or see themselves in a way they never have before. So good job with that. We love to see what you're doing and you impacting people, even if you don't even realize it, they being impacted. So keep doing what you're doing. Um, what's my next question? So how have these relationships that you've developed over the years as a speaker, as an author, and this at the jobs that you worked, how have they influenced your development?
Hmm. Yeah, man, I think it influenced my development, especially when I worked at a drug rehab, man. I noticed that a lot of times when new employees came in, they wasn't trained to their full potential. They were being average from the employees, and I said, I ain't never gonna be like that. And I think what happened was, man, people didn't want their job to be taken.
Mm-hmm.
It was right. They were like, "Nah, I'm not taking my job. I'm teaching you everything." And what I realized is that when that person was gone, the team had to carry more weight because they were being selfish, not training other people the right way. And so I said, for me, I'm gonna make sure that every person I come encounter with, every person I have a conversation with, one, I'm gonna make them feel like they're home. And number two, I'm gonna make sure that I train them because even when I'm off, I'm still on because I duplicated myself. And that's what legacy is about, bro. It's about duplicating yourself. Like people think you have relationship with great people just to have them. No, there's something that they can pour into you that's gonna allow you to duplicate yourself and impact somebody else's life. And so I just think it's a good feeling to have a Rolodex full of people who think like you, who walk like you, who share the same core values as you. Because how can two work together unless they agree? Unless you want
Yeah.
to fall into the ditch. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to you go follow whoever else ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. But for me, I understand the importance that the relationship that I have today, the relationship that I've built throughout my years, is literally put me in position to expedite my success and my growth. And not just my growth, but everybody who's attached.
Okay. Definitely. Definitely. Okay. So I have two words for you. I want you to tell me when after I read them, what is the first thing that comes to mind? There's no right or wrong answer. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. The first one is legacy.
Legacy. Selfless.
The second one is generational wealth.
Hmm. Core value.
All right. So the definition of legacy is the long lasting impact of particular events, actions that took place in the past of a person's life. And then generational wealth is the transfer of financial assets or resources from one generation to the next. So I liked your add to it too because I feel like in some way that's they kind of synonyms a little bit, and so that's good to see. All right, bet. Let's move into the next segment, which is what does this have to do with mental health? All right, so now you kind of jumped the gun, which is not a bad thing. You answered some questions already that I was going to ask,
You
which
got
was, your mission is to inspire students, leaders, and educators to leave a legacy and, and never be forgotten. So let's flip the original question that I was going to ask. So we've already kind of discussed what it means to leave a legacy to you.
yep.
So now, what does it mean to never be forgotten?
I love it. So when I talk about never be forgotten, that just simply means, man, understanding that you have to stop thinking about you. Like you got to get to a point to where life, you're not living life for you, but you're living life for people that's coming behind you and people who are attached to you. And so you can always be remembered by doing something that's remembered. That may be something as simple as paying for a single mother the groceries at Walmart. You feel me? It may be something as simple as turning around and helping somebody jumpstart their pocket. All right. It may be something as simple as instead of always doing business, focus on family. Right. So it doesn't have to be nothing extravagant. You don't have to speak on the stage with thousands of people in the audience. Right. You don't have to hold a microphone. Right. You don't have to have a large influence. But I feel that when you are doing something to be remembered, you're not doing it for you, but you're doing it for the people that's coming behind you. And as long as you do that, as long as you can change somebody's life, like Mother Teresa got to dying, man, and she says, never let somebody leave your presence without feeling better or happy. So if you're doing that, you winning every single day. So if you want to do something to be remembered, do something that is small. You don't have to necessarily do something big. I always tell people, man, if you cannot do something in a big way, do it in a small way. Yeah.
Okay. Definitely. Okay. So now let's talk about this. So we talked about never being forgotten, all that good stuff, and leaving a legacy.
Yep.
We're in the section for mental health. What does this have to do with mental health? Can it get draining always giving out impartations to others,
Yeah.
especially in some cases where those people can't mentally, emotionally, for whatever reason, give it back?
Man, I in the beginning, man, yes, it was draining, very draining. But it was draining because I was attaching myself to people who was draining. Feel me?
Okay.
When I became more wise, I knew where to I wasn't casting my pearls before swine, right?
Okay.
And again, right, people don't burn out because of what they do. They burn out because life makes them forget why they do it, right? Enki Johnson. I ain't gonna be a thought thief, right? Give credit. Credit's due, right? But that's just the true fact. Like I don't get burnt out no more because every day that I wake up, I say, "No, this is my last opportunity." I treat it as my last opportunity. This podcast, whether I go live tonight, whatever it is that I do, I'm like, this is my last opportunity. So if I'm not gonna be here no more, let's give it my all. And so if I'm always giving my all to the highest capacity, and I know that I'm doing what I love doing, there's no way I can get burnt out at all.
Okay. Good stuff. All right, so leaving a legacy behind can be cliche, we know that, and something many people may want to do.
Mhm.
So let's talk about how this correlates with mental health. So the first one says it is a sense of purpose and identity. A study published in a journal of positive psychology found that having a sense of purpose in life is associated with having better mental health outcomes. This is from Steger, and this is from an article posted in 2009. For many millennial men, establishing legacy might provide their sense of purpose, enhancing well-being and resilience. The second one says professional satisfaction and mental health. According to an older article titled Jobs, Careers, and Callings, People's Relations to Their Work, millennial men often seek careers that align with their values and desire to make a lasting impact. A study published in the Journal of Vocational Behavior found that finding meaning and purpose in one's work is positively correlated with their mental health. And then the third one I really like, it says legacy and generativity concerns. So it says Erickson's theory of psychological and development points to generativity versus stagnation as a vital sign in adulthood. This involves caring for others and contributing to the next generation, close related to the idea of legacy. Achieving this stage successfully has implications for mental well-being and other aspects as well, including assessment through self-report and behavioral acts. Now, before we go a little further, I want to definitely speak on that one. So I think that that's interesting because for me, I've always been concerned about the future.
Mm.
Even before I started the podcast, all just because my logic is I knew I was going to be something bigger than just, and I say this respectfully, a normal person. And I didn't know at first it was going to be a podcast and all the other stuff that I'm doing, but I knew I was going to be in the spotlight. So there are many things in life that I didn't do just because of I didn't want stuff to come back to bite me in the future. Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of people that I know they doing stuff. I'm like, y'all not thinking about y'all future. And it ain't just, which I'm gonna get to that in the next segment, so I want to jump ahead of myself. It ain't just about things that you say or do online. It's just about people that you even interact with on more than one level. We ain't got to get descriptive, but we can, other levels as well.
Yep.
So what would be your advice to somebody who may feel like, or whom that not may feel like, but maybe in a position where they like, I want a big future, but I'm too caught up in the now.
Mhm.
And it can be a good thing or a bad thing, because when you're too caught up in the now, you may do things where you're not thinking about later on.
Mhm.
Does it
Yeah,
make sense?
yeah, I love it. So here's the thing that I will say to you. Now means no opportunities wasted.
Okay.
That's the first thing you gotta understand. A lot of you waste opportunities because you're watching everybody else's opportunities. Like if you're always and I call it this, scroll ministry, where everybody just on social media and just your thumb got a six pack. You feel me? Because you watching everybody else's life and you yet to live your own life. And so my encouragement to you is, do you want to be microwavable or do you want to be oven? Let me know which one you want to be, because here's the thing. If it's microwavable, I remember my mom used to take me, we used to go food shopping at the EBT card, and we used to grab these thing called TV dinner. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? My favorite was the chicken, the mashed potatoes, and the corn. And I remember when I got home, I had my salt, my pepper, and I had my sazon. For the Spanish folk, I don't know what that sazon is, right? That joint is chicken. So I put it in there for about 5 minutes, take it out. When I took it out, bite the chicken, it's hot. I bite the corn, it's hot. Those mashed potatoes, they lukewarm. Just like some of your gifts, because you keep trying to rush the process. The process is meant to be rushed. The process is meant to be enjoyed, and your opportunity is your opportunity. And here's the thing: it's okay when it's not your turn. It's what you do with it's what you do with when it's not your turn. Are you able to clap somebody else's success? Are you able to show up somebody else's event when you're not on the flyer? Are you able to support other people even without thinking, hey, how can I speak? How can I get on stage? No, like how can you just genuinely support people? And so I think for me, you just gotta slow your pace, for real, slow your pace and understand that your success and what God has for you is what God has for you. And you can't rush it, you can't expedite it. It's just when it's your season, it's your season. So that's what I would say to the individual on that, brother.
Okay. All right, good stuff. Now the fourth one they said is mentoring and positive role modeling. Said many millennial men take on roles as mentors or positive role models in their communities. And well, I'm gonna get to that in a second. Whether through formal mentoring programs or informal relationship, this effort is to shape the future of others as an aspect of legacy building. And research has shown that engaging in mentoring relationships can have psychological benefits for the mentor, including embrace self-esteem and life satisfaction. Does mentoring matter? A multi displicit I can't talk right now. But a meta-analysis comparing mentored and non-mentored individuals. So this underscores the mental health benefits of legacy building through personal connections and leadership. Now, when I want to talk about that for a second. So now, I was a joke made about me by my homegirl because it was a season where I've been transitioned out of education. And in that process of transition, I was tempted to go back and just apply to jobs because I was transitioning. I was trying to apply. I couldn't get nothing. I was in what I was trying to do.
Mm.
And so my homegirl was like, she said, you trying to apply to teaching jobs. And I said this joke already, but she was like, you don't even like teaching for real. You like the kids, but that's a mentor. And I said, you're exactly right. Cause teaching the profession is a lot.
Mm.
But I also look at our community, especially black men, good and bad. We like being mentors,
Mm.
whether it's you mentoring somebody in avenues like this at a school and after school programs, or you on the block mentoring somebody in the way you trying to get them to do like how you used to do, whether it was fighting, stealing, being a Kia boy. So I think that's interesting to see that, we like being mentors, even if you don't realize you being one.
Facts.
So now, according to an article called "Are You Leaving Behind a Godly Legacy" by Frank Santoro, there is something in the human spirit that draws us to seeking meaning, destiny, and purpose with the time we have been given on this earth. Don't we all want to be remembered for the right things? Don't we want our lives to matter and leave a God-honoring legacy? What our lives are remembered for is in effect our story. So I want people to stop with that right there and ask themselves. We didn't even get to the question and challenge at the end of the episode. But what story is your storytelling?
Mm.
You know what I mean? What is it telling thus far? Now, I'm not saying he can't end for the better. It's not saying because it's good right now, it's gonna always stay good, because it's gonna be ups and downs. But what is the story of your life telling? Now, from Ramsey Solutions, and it says Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves behind his inheritance to his children's children. So this verse keeps our life goals, our vision, and our legacy front and center when we're choosing to use our money today. When we weigh what we want now against what we want later, we realize how temporary satisfaction pales in comparison to a legacy of purpose and generational fulfillment. And an inheritance is not limited to money. It also includes godly character, qualities like integrity and trustworthiness. So, as of now, I believe the answer is yes. But do you think you're leaving your kids more than just money?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Let's move into the next segment, which is I challenge that. So in this segment, we know this is the segment where we got to challenge what we talking about, just because everything is not peaches and cream. So now you didn't spoke all around the world. You're international. I seen Nigeria, I seen Canada, I seen South Africa. So how do you adapt your message to resonate with different cultures? Or do you speak other languages?
Nah, I don't speak other languages. And I will say, man, like, I mean, I think the way that we have done it is a lot of the audience that's in those other countries, we've been able to speak English, because a lot of them understand English, and some of them they need a translator, which oh my god is the hardest type of speech because you can't say what you want to say quickly, and then sometimes you be like, man, I want to say it this way, but then you can't say it that way because you got to wait for the translator to keep up with you. So, I would say overall, man, a lot of the audience in Canada, Nigeria, and South Africa, they have been an English audience, and it's really just been a blessing. But I mean, like we have all these different types of tools now with AI to where we can turn a speech into Spanish or turn a speech into, African languages and things of that nature. So I think that's even more sweeter, so that way we can have even more reach for sure. Yeah. Yep. So that's what I would say for sure. Um, Having those conversations with those individuals, just understanding that you have a translator, and that translator is really going to be what I call that Aaron to a Moses, right? And so if anybody's watching this, you're like, man, like I want to speak internationally, things of that nature. Like, don't be threatened or challenged by it. Just understand that it's an opportunity for you to leverage the leverage. And what do I mean by that? That means that you're taking the opportunity that you have in that present moment, and you're identifying how you can be able to make it even better, right? And so a lot of times what happens is that we just see the opportunity one dimensional instead of multifaceted. And so for me, when I was speaking, y'all, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, I started saying to myself, I said, well, the only way that you can succeed at a high level when you're speaking to a different audience from a different culture is to one, understand like your preparation is key. Like a lot of times our preparation is not on point, right? Like we prepare the day of or 2 days in advance, but preparation looks like, are you willing to read a book to just answer one question? Are you willing to sign up for something that you're just being able to impact and change somebody else's life? And so that's what I would say to anybody who is watching this and listening to this. Like, for real, just understand that don't be shocked because it's international, it's a different culture. You just show up and you be you. So yeah.
Ooh, now I got ads in the middle too. All right, y'all. So I'm betting on myself even more. We already knew about the ghostwriter solution, right? Well, guess what? The ghostwriter solution is now on Fiverr. That is right. You know how like artists be having like ghostwriters and stuff, like rappers, some rappers, and like singers and songwriters. Well, guess what? I am the podcast ghostwriter. What does that mean? Content for your website, any show notes, any podcast descriptions, anything that'll make your podcast easily searchable, any other thing podcast related that requires writing, I can do it. You can also reach out to me personally. Obviously, it's the same email as earlier, theprodigyperspective@gmail.com. But you can also book my services on Fiverr. Now, I will be expanding more services, but for right now, I'm just a podcast ghostwriter. And I also can help with newsletters too for podcasts. So tap in. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Now, this is a deep question. Some may say it's a little dark, but I gotta ask anyway because I think about this not frequently, but I think I want to just keep it in my back of my mind. So, have you ever imagined what it would be like to be present at your own funeral and to hear what your family and friends would say about you?
Man, bro, you know what's funny, man? I visit that monthly. I visit myself monthly and I do that, bro. And I think it's important. And here's the thing, bro. I want to encourage people because a lot of times we think death is a bad thing. No, death is just a change of your address. That's all it is. And on top of that, the reason why people fear death is because they know that they have not completed what God called them to do. So don't look at death as a bad thing. You should be visiting your funeral and saying to yourself, like, yo, my kids actually say, yo, I was a good father. Right? Like my daughter will actually say, like my dad was there for me no matter what I needed, you know what I'm saying? Not even just money, like, I need to talk to him, right? Have a conversation with him. I know my mom, the show where I shot up that boy, man, like your son, you went from this to this. Like I know for sure, like there's gonna be millions of people at my funeral. And I already told them, like, the case is gonna be too small. You gotta give me a tune. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like be
Yeah.
remembered in that capacity because I know the legacy that I need to leave in the impact, and I just know that every person I've come in contact with, they're never going to be able to say that Will didn't help me or Will wasn't inspired. Yeah.
Okay. So now that question was actually from the source earlier, Ramsey Solutions, and then it says, whatever they say, whatever they remember of your life and your effect on people is your actual legacy, which we knew that. But at that point, many people will listen and reflect somberly on their lives and may realize they've wasted their years. So that's actually something to think about. Like you would hate to be at somebody's funeral. They saying all these good things. You thinking, what did I do? What didn't I do?
Yep.
And that's one thing. I want to die empty. I want to die and not be like, you did a lot of stuff, but I wanted you to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G too. And you know what I'm saying? So now, the challenges of leaving a legacy in today's world. Now, earlier I brought up how people, we get caught up in the now a little too much, good and bad. And I think about social media, things that you say you can't take back, whether it's, you may be drunk videos. Now, of course, them drunk videos can be used for like your, I guess, testimony later too. But, I said this before on this podcast. I remember an interview by Pink, and she talked about, I want to say they were talking about Miley Cyrus. And she talked about she was thankful that a lot of her screwing up that she did, it wasn't on camera. It was just like, I did it. I can talk about it, but nobody knows because it wasn't on camera. So where even you get past that stuff and maybe even the shame with it is gone too. But the fact that it's still there, it's still just an extra monkey wrench in the grand scheme of things. But I also think about bad reputations or burning bridges. Now, I have a writing service for those that don't know, which y'all should know at this point. And we do a little bit of everything: grant writing, resumes, cover letters, technical writing, copywriting, all that good stuff. Anything written, we can do it for the low. Well, not the low, but it's ghostwriting, so nobody know that you ain't do it. But have there been instances in my service where I have, I guess, a bad reputation? Yeah, but the bad people, the good still outweigh the bad. Like I honestly I've been doing this for 6 years. I went official with it this year, but I've been doing it for a total of about 6 years. And can I say that can count on one hand, maybe two, but I know it's not even 10 out of the over 100 people I had that might leave a bad review, which is fine because as much as you do something, you're going to have somebody that come through, not like it, wasn't good enough, and that's okay. But this is the thing. Leaving a legacy is a complex task, especially for young millennial men. It says navigating the contemporary landscape. While the desire to create a lasting impact can have positive effects on mental health, as previously outlined, it can also bring about challenges. So the first one talks about economic pressures. Many millennials face significant economic burdens, including student loan debt and job market instability. Joe Biden lied to y'all. He's not getting rid of them loans. This can make legacy building, such as buying property or investing in a business, difficult. A report by the Federal Reserve noted that average student loan debt for millennials was an average of $30,000 in 2020, impacting their financial decisions. And it says another one that I think about, and this is what I think about. I think about the generational misunderstandings. It says millennials may experience disconnect or misunderstanding with older generations who may have different values or expectations concerning success and legacy. And I think about my grandma because she's so hell bent on people having a job with benefits, and I'm like, okay, but what if that job with benefits was giving me $3,600 a month, and my entrepreneurship was giving me $12,000 a month? And so you can just pay for your doctor visits and things out of pocket. Now, I was watching a TV show, and this lady, she's an influencer and, social media content, but her business is so big that she actually has, which most people do, they have an assistant, editor, all that good stuff. And she even talked about that. Her people are on healthcare. So the world has expanded. Entrepreneurs can be on healthcare, can put that out for they people that work for them too. So in that case, nobody knew that. It then says that an article from Harvard Business Review, it says what millennials want from work charted across the world. It says explores how millennials value differ globally and across generations. Now, my question to you is another rapid technical change in the world is AI. So now I hear mixed reviews. What is your take on AI? I hear it's demonic. I could believe that. But my question is, do you think it's so demonic that we shouldn't engage with it at all? Or do you think it's something we could maybe, in and out, depending on what it is? What's your take on it?
Yeah, man. I think, man, like people call a lot of things demonic, right? And so I think people just really got to go understand what demonic is, right? And I ain't got time to talk about it. I'll be here for a whole 3 hours. But
Yeah.
anyway, right? When it comes to the AI, you got to see AI as an opportunity for you to kind of substitute for your procrastination. Like now, there's no excuse for you to not even do that. Like, I ain't got no copyright or I don't have no team. Well, you can literally leverage AI to do multiple things in your business, in your company. The issue is that we're looking at AI as a threat rather than understand that AI is an opportunity for us to put us in a better position to get things done more effective and more efficient. Now, if you're an individual that's looking at it, I ain't using that because it's the devil and all this stuff, then that's what you choose to do. Like whatever you choose, that's what you choose to do. But I know for me in my company, bro, AI has been a tremendous help because there's a lot of different things that we can, chop content up with, right? Copy, right? Email, like what I'm talking about, man. Like it doesn't have to necessarily be a lot of crazy things, but you have to understand that if you use AI in the right way and you're not using it to manipulate people, you're using it just to make personal gain, but you're actually using it because you know that it can fill certain gaps in your business that's already there. You didn't have the time to do it. It cuts your time in half. So what would have took you 5 hours to do, now you can knock it out in a matter of 5 minutes. Now you just got back more time to spend with your daughter, your son, your spouse, go out and do the things that you enjoy and love doing. So I would say to anybody, your belief is your belief. But I know for over here with the Secret Sauce family, like bro, it's been a tremendous help for the company, and it allows to give time back not just to me but to my employees as well. So yeah, I like AI, and again, it's only going to replace people who are not authentic.
I looked at it like it's kind of corny, but I look at it like Batman. I look at it like it's your Batman, and AI is like one of the tools in his tool belt. Like
Yeah.
it's not. I do see. I remember iRobot and all these other little movies about how it was gonna take over, and I still believe that's gonna happen in some capacity. But I do believe that as of now, things can change. That it is a tool to can be help to you. Now, I don't believe you should use it as a replacement to your relationship with God, or I don't believe you should use it to replace your creativity, which I do believe some people will do, and that's going to be the issue where you can't think of nothing. So like, hey, AI asks you to create a question, instead of you doing it on your own. So if that's what you're doing, I suggest you stop that because you'll get found out eventually. You think you get away with it, but you'll get busted in some way. All right, before we move to the next segment, I have to ask. So you brought up about your kids, two amazing sons and a beautiful daughter. So now I'm sure AI is a part of it. You're very busy. How do you balance your demanding schedule and your family life?
Yeah, man. I call it rhythm,
Okay.
rhythm, bro. And for me, it's just like you make time for what's important, flat out, right? And I think you just gotta put that in chronological order. And I know for me, if I'm not right with God, I'm not gonna be right with my family. If I'm not right with my family, I'm not gonna be right with my clients, right? And so everything has a rhythm to it. So I know I have a team in place to take care of the things that I don't have to take care of. So number one, if you really want to scale your business and become in a better position, identify your team. And let me say this to you: a lot of times you think team has to be with money. No, you can barter with people.
Yeah.
I've done it in the beginning of my career, right? I bartered with people. I'll teach you something. You do this for me in exchange for a couple months, all right? And then you get yourself in a position where you start having to live. I ain't got to do email marketing. I ain't got to respond to social media messages. Like, okay, I'm getting 2 hours of my time that I can go spend with my spouse. I can spend with my kids. I can spend with my team, right?
Yeah.
But just always understand, man, like there's different levels to it, but when you're trying to balance, see it like juggling. You know what I'm saying? Like you trying to everything, and when something drop, everything drop. When you got rhythm, it's like that. It's like that ocean flow. You feel me? It's just flowing. It's just moving the way it needs to move. And so, again, people make time for what's important. For me, I already know that my three is God, my family, and then the people.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So now let's move into the next segment, which is the weekly sabbatical. All right. So we all know this is the time to reflect and kind of just reminisce on some things. So now you talked about homelessness. You talked about hardships. I also saw that you talked about, being in foster care as well as molestation. So you've obviously risen through the ashes like the phoenix. But what would be your advice to anybody who went through these things? Like, what could, if you could tell them, if, say, for instance, one of your students that you talked to came backstage and wanted to ask you some, how did you get to where you are now through all that? They may still be suffering from the traumas from it or whatever it is. How did you get past the traumas? And what advice would you give to anybody that's went through those things?
Yeah. So, man, I would say straight up, man, like you need to get a relationship with God
Yeah.
ASAP. Like that's like for me, like that was the move. You know, I had a praying mother. But when I went through those things, man, like my mom didn't tell me for years, bro. And so I had to come to the realization, like number one, whatever happens in life, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for you because you got molested. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for you because you was homeless, right? Like the world we live in is a bunch of sharks, vicious people. Nobody cares, right? And so your job is to make people care. And the
Yeah.
only way to make people care is you got to be consistent in what you do and how you do what you do. And so if I'm speaking to that kid, no, I'm gonna let that kid know off rip number one, what do you want in life? That's number one. Like if you know what you want in life and you're in those dark moments, the thing that you want in life is what's gonna drive you. And so if you say to me, hey, I want my mom to have a better life, and let that drive you in those moments to where things are dark around you, things are gloomy. Because everybody's always gonna start as a seed. And as a seed, you're lonely. You're very lonely, right? It's just you, it's just the soil, it's just the dirt, it's just the cold, it's just the rain. But when you sprout and when you grow and when you start producing fruit, you don't produce fruit when you start growing. You produce fruit when it's already inside of you. Everything you need is already inside you to produce. The question is, are you going to continuously water your why every single day? Are you going to do that? Are you going to be willing to say to yourself, no matter what it takes, no matter what I'm going through, no matter what I'm encountering, that I understand that the goal is for me to make sure that my mom lives a better life and to change the trajectory of my life as well. And I gotta be willing to go through the go through because nobody who is successful has never been. They've all been through something, and so that's what I would say to that individual in regards to that because it's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. But Les Brown said it one time. He said, "A hard life makes an easy life, and an easy life makes a hard life." And so, if you're willing to go through the go through, then you'll be willing to get through.
All right. Good stuff. All right. So You gonna chime in. I have 3 ways to leave a legacy from things that I've researched, and of course you can chime in and add whatever you would like to add.
Yeah.
And of course we'll leave y'all with some tips and things to attempt to do things that I've researched and the stuff that I found work for me. All right, so building and maintaining meaningful relationships. It says that investing in relationships with family, friends, and mentors can have a profound, lasting impact on others' lives. Blogs like the Gottman Institute offer insights into building these strong and healthy relationships. And then it says this involves active listening, empathy, support, and openness with loved ones. Taking the time to build and nurture these relationships not only enriches personal life, but also creates a positive legacy through the lives of others.
Mm.
The second one says investing in personal development education, encouraging lifelong learning and self improvement can provide tools needed to create meaningful impact in personal and professional lives. It says this comes from stuff like various blogs like the Medium's mission. And it says this includes attending workshops. That's what I'm really big into in this season. Reading books, seeking mentorship, or even taking online courses. Investing in oneself builds a strong foundation for creating a lasting impact. Now, with that, and I'm not knocking school as far as typical school, but I'm just saying those are other ways to get education too. And of course, I got to throw in YouTube University. And then the third one I like is fostering community involvement and social responsibility. Engaging in community service or taking part in social causes aligned with many millennial views and contributes to lasting legacy. Websites like Volunteer Match offer opportunities for community involvement, while blogs like The Cause Artist showcase how individuals can blend profit with purpose. So that's some stuff to keep in mind for those who may want to leave a legacy in some way. And then, of course, we know financially generational wealth, starting a business that you can give to your kids, give to that'll stay in the family, taking them houses that grandma, big mom, and all them used to have. Don't sell them, try to keep them in the family and Airbnb them out. You know what I'm saying? Then when y'all people come in town, y'all can stay there. Then the time while you gone, make money out of them. All right, let's move into the final segment for the day. This has been a good one, and I knew it would be. But let's move into the final segment for the day, which is everybody's favorite game time. And this game is called Legacy or Tragedy. I'm going to name like a few scenarios, and I want you to tell me whether or not this is a legacy or a tragedy. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Causing hell on social media all your life and now trying to start a family and those videos resurface.
Dang, man. Sheesh. Uh, I'm gonna go with legacy. You try to clean it up. You know what I'm saying? You try to clean it up. You can't. You'll pass your pain. Things are gonna happen. I think you trying to clean it up. That's legacy. Yeah.
All right. Recording a video of yourself at 15 telling yourself that you was going to have $1,000,000 by the time you turned 30 and your kids was going to eat for the rest of their lives and they'll never have to suffer like you did, and you turn 30 and you have $1,000,000.
That's legacy.
For sure. Starting a business with one of your friends and your friend and you end up having to quit the business, and now your friend has taken over the business fully and you didn't sign any paperwork. So now all of the money you can't get.
Tragedy. Tragedy. Yeah.
For sure. Taking the incidents that you went through in life, good, bad, and indifferent, and now speaking on stages across the world.
That's legacy all day.
All right, good stuff. All right, so now my question and challenge for the people this week: what is one legacy you'd like to leave for the generations to come? Now you can have a bunch of them. You can save money, but I want you to kind of think outside the box, just because that's easy to say. Especially for us in our community who grew up in poverty and things of that nature. So if you can, but if you want to just say that, I'll count it. And of course, at the end of the month, the person who has the most, you'll get picked to win money. So remember, $10 through Cash App, $15 for the second place winner, and $25 for you get what I mean. All right, so now, anything you want to leave the people with before you leave today?
Yeah, man. I would be doing a disservice if I did not leave you with this quote with Dr. Miles Monroe. He says, "The greatest tragedy in life is not death, but living life without purpose."
All right, good stuff. All right, y'all. So that is all I got for this week. Tune in next week for another great episode. P.S.A. signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And I love us For real.